Hey there, crypto traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Sunday, December 17th. I hope you're doing well. I was a little bit shocked today, not going to lie. I got an email from Uphold that said that they were delisting a bunch of assets. There's a whole slew of coins that they're going to be delisting, and this totally caught me by surprise. And a couple of those out of the bunch that were named, one of them is XLM Stellar Lumens, and the other one is Hedera Hashgraph HBAR. And I'm very bullish on these coins, but this definitely is raising some eyebrows, and I'm a little concerned about this action. Because if you remember the Binance situation, Binance news was basically released saying that they were leaving Canada, and then they got sued by the SEC, and then now we know CZ could potentially be going to jail, and I think they said like up to 18 months or something like that, and then also $4.3 billion fine. So this is not really a good thing in my opinion, but we'll get to all of that and more in just a moment. Before we do, I would appreciate it if you could support the channel by liking the video, sharing the video. You can tick the bell as well and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Also, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You should never ever buy anything based on anything that I write or anything that I say. And you can also give us a follow over on X, which is formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. We recently signed up for Rumble and Odyssey platforms as well, just in case you ever get silenced here on YouTube. You can follow Pow Group over there. This was the email that I got today. I just opened it in the browser, but very odd because I didn't see this coming at all. It was very surprising, but I also don't hold any of these assets, and they're tier 3 assets that they classify them as. And it says, we are contacting you because you hold one or more of the following assets on Uphold, but I don't. But maybe I was thinking about it, and maybe it's because I had them in the past, and then the system just it doesn't have a way of distinguishing whether or not I actually hold it right now or I did in the past. But regardless, who knows? I'm not sure why this is the case, but maybe there'll be some more additional information that comes out soon on it. But let me know if you get this same email and you don't actually hold the coins actively in the wallet. I only have 2 coins right now on Uphold, and that is Flare and Songbird. So I don't actually own any of this. Everything else is in my cold storage. I do own HBAR, I do own XLM. Those are the only 2 that I own out of this list. But we'll go through, and I mentioned that earlier in the video, but we'll go through the details here. So after careful consideration and in line with the pre-registration undertaking that we've entered into with this Ontario Securities Commission as part of the process of obtaining appropriate registration in Canada, we've decided to no longer support the following assets. The process of removing them from our platform has begun, and you will have 30 days to either liquidate your holdings into an Uphold supported asset or withdraw to an external wallet. And I use the Tangent wallet. I also have a Ledger. I also have a SecuX wallet as well. But you can check out the links in the description. There's links for that. Those are products and services I use every day. There'll be an Uphold link as well. You can still buy, XRP. That's one of the coins that's not on the list, and we'll talk about more of that about that in just a moment. But very interesting, right? That XRP obviously isn't on the list when even the SEC sued Ripple, and they still didn't delist it. So we'll talk about that more later. But this is concerning. You should definitely transfer it if you're holding it on an exchange anyway. Uphold just came out with the Uphold Vault. I just did a video on that. It's assisted self-custody. So it's very similar to self-custody, and self-custody just means that you hold the password essentially to this crypto called the private key, right? The public key is essentially your username or your user ID and the password to unlock it, right? Which is the private key, which is very similar with SSL. If you look at the website's HTTPS, that just basically means that it's encrypted and it's using that same type of technology, right? The SHA-256 hash. So basically, long story short, get it off the exchange if it's not your key is not your crypto, and they control the key whenever you have it on the exchange, right? Unless you're using Uphold's Vault self-custody, assisted self-custody. But rule of thumb is you want to have it on a hardware device, so I encourage you to check out the links below. I really like the Tangent. It's very affordable as well, and it's super easy to set up. It's like it took me less than 5 minutes to set it up. It was like literally 1 to 2 minutes, and it was done. But the tier 3 assets being delisted, the full list: XDC, CAS, so KAS, DOGE, Casper, HBAR, XLM, Cardano, ADA, SHIB, INJ, and VET, so VeChain. So again, this is very And one thing I was confused about is XLM. Why would they have XLM on there if, it's basically a replica of the XRP ledger? You would think that they'd sort of be immune. But, an interesting thing as well is that Flare and Songbird are not on here, which are forks, essentially, of the XRP ledger. So this is very, very interesting. Let's see. Maybe I could definitely see the SEC going after Cardano and Charles Hoskinson. SHIB, DOGE and SHIB, those are obviously two very hot targets for regulators. There's not really any utility behind it as well. So it's going to be an interesting time. I don't actually own any XDC. The only one I own is XLM and HBAR on this list. But let me know what you think of this in the comment section below. Do you think that this is a very bad thing? Because that's sort of the vibe that I'm getting. But Uphold will also be delisting all Tier 4 assets. So if you click on these links here, you can get the pre-registration undertaking, and that shows the Ontario Securities Commission. They sent to them from Uphold Worldwide, crypto asset trading platforms, pre-registration activities undertaking. I went through, I didn't even really see much in there, but maybe some lawyers or something like that will, or some other sleuths will uncover something that I didn't see. But yeah, this is basically just because we know Binance had to leave Canada. Now Uphold is essentially trying to stay in Canada, I think, and they're looking to delist this because of some uncertainties with regards to regulations and how they are classified as, commodities or what have you, securities potentially. But this is interesting. This is very interesting, but it seems like Uphold has been given the green light. It just has to come into compliance with the regulator, which in this case is Ontario Securities Commission. So if we click on the link here, the Tier 4 assets, you can see that Tier 4 assets, and this is awesome too because Uphold has 100% reserves. So always has been, always will be. They don't do any commingling of customer funds or anything like that. They also have 101.2% reserve status. So assets in the reserve, 2.48 billion. Obligations, 2.4 billion. Transaction volume, 39 billion. Number of transactions, 128 million. And then you can go down here and you can see Tier 4. And we'll go through, if we just do find Tier 4, there we go. So these are all the Tier 4 assets. You got Aptos, AR, ASTR, AZERO, Bonk, Cake, CELO, CKB, DAR, DCR, DGB, so Digibyte, EGLD, EOS, EVMOS, EWT, Filecoin, Flow, Phantom, Moonbeam, Steppen, GMX, Gains Network, Helium. Wow. Hop Protocol, Icon. So like Helium just signed a deal too that's been pumping like massively right now. It migrated to Solana chain, but they just recently partnered with T-Mobile as well and have a phone plan running across the US markets for $20. IOTA, Icon, yeah, Kava, Kusama, what else? Terra Classic, and obviously those were a massive Ponzi and collapse. So this is interesting. You got Nano, Neo, Ontology, Harmony, Orca. That's pretty much all the major ones. Thorchain, you got Ravencoin, Stacks. There's a lot. Theta, you got Theta Fuel, VeChain, Zilliqa. So there's a lot of assets right now. And like I said, what asset isn't on the list? That would be XRP. Also, Flare and Songbird, which are, right, they're built on the XRP ledger. So this is interesting because XLM was on the list. This is going to be an interesting time ahead. Like I said, be prepared. We could see a lot of lawsuits happening. And the fact that, even Charles Hoskinson said it too in one of his videos. He basically said, and he was all sour, he was like, I'm basically hearing rumblings that Ripple, which is going, being set, it was basically said they were fined for selling unregistered sales of XRP, and they deemed XRP in and of itself a security, which we know is not the case. But essentially, we don't really know what other lawsuits could come right out of the gate. But he mentioned that when that decision, he said that he heard that there could be a decision, trying to remember exactly, on the Ripple case that would be basically favorable to XRP, and it would put all of the other coins in purgatory. Like they could be suffering the same fate. And sure enough, that's what happened. XRP is the only one now with court, case law, the law of the land for at least the next few years. XRP is the only digital asset with legal clarity in the US. And nothing else has it, right? Not even Bitcoin, not even Ethereum. And like I said, this is very troubling because Cardano, we also know that Cardano was mentioned in multiple lawsuits to different exchanges where the SEC deemed it a security. So like I said, if you hold any of those coins, you may want to just 100% make sure you're positioned accordingly. I'm not going to tell you to buy, sell, or hold or anything like that, but all I can say is just make sure you're prepared for the absolute worst case scenario. If you weren't an XRP holder like me, and just before Christmas, basically SEC comes out and then a bunch of their staff leaves the day after, like just such a shady act and just nonsense, really. And anyways, it was a terrible time, and I don't wish that on any other project. So if you weren't in that, if you weren't a part of that massive wealth destruction and corruption, for lack of a better word, then you don't really know what it's like. But if you do, you do know what it's like, and it was rough. But we don't want anybody else to go through that, right? So just make sure that you're prepared, because that could very well come to these other projects as well. Also, Ripple teamed up with Uphold to bolster cross-border payments infrastructure. So the two companies are now partnered, and like I said, Ripple has basically gotten through hundreds of millions of dollars worth of legal fights. It basically has gotten legal clarity for XRP, which is basically the backbone and essential to their business model, right? And now Uphold's partnered with them for cross-border payments infrastructure. I saw the other day that you could actually transfer assets from Uphold to your bank account in literally seconds, like less than 5 seconds. This is where the future is. This is where we're going. And these two companies, in my opinion, are right at the forefront. And there'll be links, like I said, in the description where you can sign up for Uphold and you can actually buy XRP directly on that platform. Also, the Flare token, I got Flare token under 1 penny, and it was over 2 pennies the other day. I think that's going to easily go to 50 cents to $1 one day. But again, not financial advice. But I'll leave you with this reminder. Remember when I did the video on Binance leaving Canada? Now what? I gave some options. If you haven't seen that video, I highly encourage you to check that out. So it got over 4,000 views, but I would highly encourage you to check that out. You got some other options. There are going to be links for them in products and services, other exchanges as well that I use in the comment section below. They're trusted, vetted links. So there's a lot of scams and fake links out there that redirect you to some phishing website or some scam site. So make sure you're using the trusted, vetted links, and you're not like going to Google and clicking on an ad or anything like that. Make sure you're actually going to like a bookmark or making sure that they are who they say they are, right? You can go here, you can click on the connection is secure, certificate valid, and you'll see that it's registered to that domain, like google.com, right? YouTube. So this is a little concerning for me because Binance had to leave Canada, and then there was a bunch of lawsuits. There was a huge $4.3 billion settlement. And then, like I said, the founder, CZ, could be doing multiple years potentially of jail time. So like breaking Bank Secrecy Act and money laundering, not a good sign, right? So if that happened, what do you think could potentially be coming to these assets? So all I say is, I'm not here to spread fear or FUD or be an alarmist or anything like that. I'm just literally saying, make sure you know what you're doing, because if any of these other projects have to, God forbid, they have to suffer the same consequence as Ripple, many people are going to feel that same pain, and that's just not something that we want. The industry it's such an amazing industry, but it's just like the internet, right? When something comes along and it disrupts things, it's not going to be accepted easily. And as the saying goes, first they ignore you, then they fight you, then you win, right? So we're close to the win phase. We just have to go through a bit more fighting first. But going into there, let me know what you think of this news. Are you worried? Are you holding any of these other coins? Were you part of the XRP, bloodbath when they basically were deemed a security and the SEC sued them? Like I said, we don't wish that on anyone, but yeah, we don't know what the future holds. I just can only hope for the best. So going into there, like I said, it's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.